Can we get a sneak peek at one of these short stories?
Well, I mean, there's so many. Basically, like with anxiety disorders, there's a girl, Katie, and she basically has a lot of anxiety attacks, and so she's self-medicating. She's buying like Xanax from and Klonopin from friends, and then she mixed it with alcohol at a party, and she almost passed out and hit her head. Anyway, but she got to the point where her anxiety was getting to the point where it really needed to be treated. And so that one actually is based on a true story. And then all my stories too, or actually most of them, have to do with medications and what I do for a living.
Right.
Uh, some of the stories, like my sociopath story, which is basically a child molester who's is a middle or elementary school teacher.
Writing with authors, I have a treat for you today. This guy's showing me all of his books behind the scenes, and he didn't even have all of them with him. He's got a lot of advice to share. He has a new book, and that took him around 5 years, I think you said, for the latest,
That's correct.
and then 12 years for the earlier ones. Paul, thank you so much for joining Writing with Authors.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. He will also be on a mental health break, so stay tuned for that. But for today, we're not only talking about all of his books, we're talking about his new book. He just hold it up again one more time. This is brand new. As I mentioned, 5 years went into it. He has his career in family medicine that seamlessly transitioned to psychiatry. Now he has his own approach, mind, body, and healing. All of that led to these books today. I want to show some love on your latest book, Paul, because this is Writing with Authors. Let's talk about it.
Well, like I said, it took me, I started writing about 22 years ago, and I started my first three books took me 12 years to write. I then wrote two books that are going to be for teaching. So I want to teach doctors how to do what I do, and so that's going to be. So I haven't released those yet because I haven't set up the training course yet for that. So then after those five, I decided to write a book that was really different. This book is actually I tell 30 original short stories, so it's
Oh,
not as
cool.
much about the science of everything like I do in the first books. Well, again, the first books are very friendly, consumer friendly, very easy to read. This book really, since I've seen so many people over the years, I just basically have made up a 30 original short stories, some based on my patients, some imagination. Yeah, the title is a kind of long, crazy title. It's the Corona Protocol, a scientifically proven medical solution to stop addiction, bullying, homelessness, school shootings, and suicide, 30 years in the making. So I cover everything from anxiety, depression, bipolar, ADD, PTSD. I delve into personality disorders like narcissism, like borderline personality, sociopaths and psychopaths. And then I also delve into what I just said on the subtitle, all those subjects. I cover a lot in the book. Like I said, 30 stories I tell, but there are so far 5-star rating on Amazon. It's been
All
received.
right.
It's really exciting because it was kind of a fun book to write because I'm a fiction reader. I love fiction. I always have, especially adult fantasy novels. So this was kind of fun because it was my first crack at fiction, and so and I never done it before. So it took a lot. I mean, the reason it took 5 years is because I just wanted it to be just perfect, and so I kept writing and rewriting it. I think a lot of writing is the writing part can be fun, of course, but the editing part is the part that's just exhausting after a while. Sometimes you have to kind of at some point give it up and give it to the editor and say, here, you do the rest. I can't, after going through it 6, 7, 8 times, I can't do it anymore. When you get to the point where you're so sick of reading your material that you get to the point where I just can't read this stuff anymore. And then what frustrates you is you miss stuff. Like how could I miss that misspell there? How could I? You know, I
Well,
said, after going through over and over again, I know how to spell words. Why am I like, how can I not see that? You know?
I can
So,
resonate with so much what you just said. Blinded by Our Own Light, my first book, Left for Dead. I must have kept rewriting and rewriting, changing synonyms at some points just to keep changing. So I can relate there. I love how you said first cracked at fiction after 5 books. Everyone out there, keep expanding. This guy's a career writer, obviously. All the commitment and the dedication is extremely evident. So congratulations on staying just committed to this cause, the process of writing. Before I ask you what led to book number one, as I read these notes here, can we get a sneak peek at one of these short stories?
well, I mean, there's so many. Basically, like with anxiety disorders, there's a girl, Katie, and she basically has a lot of anxiety attacks, and so she's self-medicating. She's buying like Xanax from and Klonopin from friends, and then she mixed it with alcohol at a party, and she almost passed out and hit her head. Anyway, but she got to the point where her anxiety was getting to the point where it really needed to be treated, and so that one actually is based on a true story. And then all my stories too, or actually most of them, have to do with medications and what I do for a living.
Right.
Uh, some of the stories, like my sociopath story, which is basically a child molester who's is a middle or elementary school teacher, and does homeschooling, and so there's that kind of creepy story.
Oh,
There's yeah.
people are just going to be able to resonate with these stories so much, and I think that's what you're trying to do with this. And just more power to you for putting this out into the world. I didn't realize the power of my story until I actually started sharing it. And then I realized that it actually impacts so many people, which led to all these podcast series. What have you gotten feedback from anyone in the book? I know you probably didn't use their name and you can't do all that, but how they feel about how far they've come, like being used in your book?
Oh, well, I mean, some of them have asked me, "Is this story about me?" And I tell them, again, there's not one story that's just one person. There's
Right.
maybe pieces of people that I've used. I mean, some of these stories are maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of the patients I've seen, just different elements of their story in one
Love
story.
that.
But yeah, there's not actually one that's the same story as a person. So most people haven't said that. Most people just like, man, those stories are great, and they really captivated me. I've had some patients read the book twice, and now they're on their third time because they
Love
said.
that.
So I love hearing that, of course, because
Yeah.
I think the stories were meant to do that. They're really meant to suck you in, and because the subject matter is just pretty fascinating, and then I also tell my story about what got me doing this, starting as a family doctor, and so the section 5 of my book, I base after I tell the stories, I tell my story, and I talk about difficult times I've gone through. I'm very honest in the book about my own challenges, and so it's a very personal book for me. And so I love the fact that it's doing so well, and already won a couple of awards, and uh,
Hey, good stuff, man. Congratulations.
my book cover was actually last week on Thursday on the NASDAQ screen in the Times Square and then New York City, because of an award I won. And so my book cover was flashed on the screen for 15 seconds, 50 different times that day. Uh,
That's for Times Square, that's good viewership.
so that was pretty cool. I almost went back for that, but I decided not to. So
Well, congratulations again on all the success. Before I let you go, before we find out where to find these books online, what are some writing tips you can offer to everyone out there? You've got a lot of experience now. Again, congrats on putting all these books out there. What are some roadblocks you hit along the journey?
I think you just have to be, when you're a writer, you have to be dedicated, but that doesn't mean you have to constantly be obsessively writing all the time.
Well said.
For me, I just you set goals. Okay, well, this weekend I'm going to do this, and then once you do that, you take a break and you stop. So I'm an avid reader. I constantly reading a book. So I would normally write, a bit, and then read a book, and then take a break from writing for a while, then read a book, and then go back to. So I would kind of go back and forth.
Awesome.
Stephen King, in his book called On Writing, is a fantastic book about his writing tips. he basically said you have to read every day, you got to write every day. So I think you got to, maybe something writing, but for me, it's just a matter of having a goal in your mind. Okay, when do you want to get this book done by? If you're not in a hurry, you can, like I wanted to get it right, so I wasn't in that big of a hurry. And so it's just that it's dedication, it's sticking with it, it's not giving up when it's hard. When it's hard and you're sick and tired of it, take a break.
Well said.
You'll have fresh eyes when you get back to it if you take a break and then get back into it again.
Well, I think that's the best advice you can give. I live by that. Whenever I'm blinded by the light, I just get up, walk away. I'm a big nature guy. Like I'll walk outside 10 minutes with a timer and just take in the natural noises and the sunlight and hop back to it. It's been a great episode, man. Thank you so much for connecting and joining the show. Everyone, please be sure to be on the lookout for his mental health episode also this summer. Paul, where can we find you online? And more importantly, where can we find all these awesome books?
Well, you can all on Amazon. The Corona Protocol and the first three books are called Healing the Mind and Body, the trilogy on Amazon. My new book is also on Barnes and Noble and Walmart. My podcast is the Dr. Paul Show on Spotify. I do a weekly show. You can also, if you want to join me on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And my website is drpaulcoronamd.com. That's DR for doctor. If you want to get a hold of me, I do see patients remotely, so even new patients, and I have a lot of patients out of state. So if you want to be part of the practice, give me a call. So.
Thank you for sharing that. And as I'm winding down my work day, this has been a great interview. You really gave your passion here. And again, thank you for bringing all this expertise to the table. Please let us know when you have the next book on the way so we can update the community online. And with that, the show is at Writing with Authors exclusively on YouTube. If you enjoyed this show, please click the subscribe button and rate the show 5 stars so more people can come on and listen to our show. If you have a book and want to get some love out there, some awareness on your book, please let us know. Email Danica podcastbylancy@gmail.com. There's nothing better than talking to people. See, the end of the day is near, about common interests, and writing is one of my favorite things. I'm writing as well, or reading all day. I know you're doing the same. Thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you so much. Come in.